Welcome back to another TerranScapes video. Some ways back I previewed several aspects of a very large project that I was beginning. That is the cliff project or plateau island with lava flows and lighting issues, lighting goals, let's call them that. And that project has sort of been languishing because I really need to tune into it in a very intense way. Whenever I do a very large project like this, I have trouble just sort of piecemealing work on it in between other things. And in some ways that's actually been very good because it's given me time to think about it, to do some more research and testing, and a lot of times that delay can be a benefit in terms of me planning for the project. But I finally have sort of cleared my plate of a bunch of work. I've indicated that when I open the store it's going to be a while before I begin work on those projects, and I have one project from the last store opening that's really almost a custom project because there's quite a few additions to add to it. So I'm going to put that a little bit on hold as well. Hopefully that customer will understand. But the Cliff project, that's what I'm calling it, has really been in the queue for, I'm embarrassed actually, far too long. So it's about time that I start ripping into that project in a more dedicated way. So what I'd like to do today is give you a look at the work that I have done so far. I have spent some time with it, building it up and getting a sense of the overall layout. I showed you before, if you have not seen the video, where I had the revised, let's call them schematics, of the layout of what I was planning, that gave me a new foundation for building it up. And as I've been working on it, of course these things get slightly modified as time goes on, as I actually start laying down foam and getting a sense of what that's going to look like. So let's take a look at what I've done and give you a sense of where it's going to be going in the future, and hopefully we can expect to see a lot more progress on this project over the next couple of weeks. So you can see here, this is the foundation of the project so far. And what I've been doing is building up the base and trying to take into account the expected slope for each of the faces. So really I've been trying to manage the amount of foam that's incorporated in it, as actually the interior of this piece is relatively hollow. I've been cutting strips and laying them down, building them up in a staircase fashion, mainly to conserve on the amount of foam that's used in the project, as well as to maintain a lighter weight overall. As believe it or not, when you stack up enough foam, it actually does start to add up, and there's quite a few layers left to go. And of course with finishing materials, that it starts to accumulate. In fact, I have yet to base it as well. This will get a hardboard base at the end, but once I carve it, I need to do that so I can lay out the hardboard and cut it to fit. You can see here, these lines here. These lines indicate the expected slope on this face. This is going to be the front face. Basically, that's the way I think about it. This is going to be side A in the previous drawing that I've shown you. Here are my plans that I've been kind of using as a guide. And so this is actually going to be at a 60-degree slope, and it's going to have the archer emplacement, the lava pool here at the bottom, and of course the entrance and platform to enter into the interior passageway that will be lit. And there was original discussion, if you recall, about having movable gates come in. I've since abandoned that idea, as getting all of the lighting and whatnot working on this project and casting the lava is about as much as I think I can handle mentally while I'm working on this. Before we talk about the passageway, which is really the main focus I've been working on recently, this is currently, let me do the count, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is 11.5 inches tall at this point. Now the projected height of the overall piece is 24, but I might kick that up another inch or two, as I was planning on this entering at the 10-inch level, and this is actually an inch and a half higher now, and that's mainly because I started at a 1.5-inch piece for the bottom of this, and actually I think that's going to work well. As looking at this, I'm going to have some pretty quick transitions to get it down to the floor, well, the floor of the piece actually, and the floor of my workshop slash basement slash studio. So having a little extra height here, bringing this up, is going to make some of those transitions a little bit easier, as well as the walkway that will be carved into this to come up to the entrance platform. Now, one of the things I did do after laying this out, the customer gave me basically a go-ahead to modify the bottom dimensions or the height as well as much as I wanted. And I've actually kicked this out a couple inches. Let's see here. I probably kicked it out about 4 inches or so. And we'll take another angle look at this in just a second. But I did that to give me more room to put in the lava pool here at the bottom, as I really need to extend that lava pool out, as I'm going to be having a walkway coming up this side that there'll be a stairway, and you could take a look at the video with the drawings in the previous, in the Wayback catalog. Anyway, that's going to need to traverse, that's not the right word. Anyway, it's going to span, that's what I'm looking for. Span over the lava flow coming down the slope, say, imagine it about here coming down. So the more distance I have here, I think the little bit easier that is going to be to manage. In any case, that is probably the extent of the base enlargement that I will be doing. So this is, just to give you an approximation, if I can recall correctly, this is 40 or so inches across, so it's going to finish at about 45 inches width-wise at the finish. Of course, who knows, things get modified down the road, but that's the plan at the moment. So before we look at this on a head-on direction, so what I've done here is I've assembled the passageway, and the passageway I cut to match, you can see here, the arch entrance. And what I wanted to do is have the passageway meet this flush. And actually, to describe these cuts a little bit better, I think changing the camera angle is going to give us a better view. So let's do that now. So here's looking at the entrance head on. And this is, as a reminder to folks who haven't looked at this project in a while, this is 10 inches high. Whoops, there we go. And what I wanted to do was have the inside of the passageway mimic this shape exactly, so that when I put this facing onto it, it'll be a nice flush join and will carry this shape into the interior. That was really, I think, necessary in not only will it look nice, but I really didn't want to draw in a square passageway and have this be a flange with a gap behind it. I just think that's not going to look very believable. It's not going to look professional. Whoever built this really cared about it. So that was one of the goals, was to have that match this. Now, taking the facing away, that meant that I had to do a lot of angled cuts to make this work. Now, these straights are just fine for making the angled cuts, but what happens is then I had to, let's see if you can see that in this frame, then I had to have this come across, and we'll come up just a little bit on that. There we go. I had to have this come across at a 90-degree angle, and there are also 45-degree angles in this, so I had to make these cuts all angle right together and cut all these. This was incredibly challenging. Normally I have a very good eye for spatial relations, but because these have a definitive facing and there are various pieces doing different facings in, that meant I had to really make sure I was cutting on the right side of them, and it was a trick. It's not like cutting a square passageway and then just dropping in a 45-degree angle. In fact, for this joint here, I was really unsure how to cut it. Turned out it was a little bit easier than I thought. Then I later went in and trimmed this off and trimmed the bottom off, and yeah, this was a bear, actually. It may look simple, but it wasn't, at least not to me. So right now I've just got it all taped together so I can just do a little testing with it. So then I originally had planned on having this be a bit of a T-square, so there would be a section coming off here in addition to it coming off here, and then it would be a flat back against the base, though there'd be a flat back on a ways back. But once I put this down, again, you know, sometimes seeing it in the, you know, the flesh, so to speak, it changes my perspective pretty severely. You know, I realized that looking at this side and having this transition up, right, as the height increases, this is going to come back. There is very little room to have an extension off the back of this coming forward this way. So I abandoned that and instead decided to put in a, you know, bend, so to speak. You know what, I'm just going to hold the camera for a second. Whoop. So I decided to have two angles, two passages coming off of it going to the right as we're facing it. One coming off at a 45-degree angle and then coming back, and one coming off at a 90-degree angle. I really wanted to have two passageways in the interior as it's going to give it a lot more visual interest. I think when you look in, I want to make this interior be a stellar visual component of the overall project, because there's nothing more enjoyable than seeing a gap and wanting to peek inside and then hopefully getting a nice visual treat. Now, one of the things, of course, that I wanted to do is to light this interior, and so what I've done is made a mock-up of the lighting, and let's see if I can get that switch. Are we going to light up? Okay. And in fact, oh, you can see that a little bit. Oh, wow, that's playing funny things with the camera. We'll see. But what I wanted to do, let's see if we can come in here and take a little bit more of a look inside. There we go. So I wanted to see these two passageways, you know, sort of have some differentiation between them, and it just looks a little bit more interesting coming inside. I also wanted to expand the view as much as I could so that when you bring your eye farthest to this wall and look in, you know, you can really get a sense that there's something going around the corner in here. I probably overbuilt the side passageways in terms of length. I think they extend more than they need to, but I would rather err on the side of having more material than I need and trim it back than having it too short and being able to see the end of the passageway. Now, the lighting in this doesn't look quite as bright as it is going to down the road, because there is a lot of light leakage coming in from the gaps while I've done this sort of mock-up. And also, one of the things I've noticed is that the color of the flickering torchlight has really shifted because of the pink foam, basically. So it's shifted it pretty heavily towards a green, actually. Now, one of the things I'd like to do as a result of that is to actually finish the interior of this and then relight it and see how the lights look against the painted interior. Of course, it's going to be much darker than the pink, and you know, with grays, and that is going to affect the reflectivity and the color of the light. So really, I want to finish this before I continue with the project, so that I can see the lighting, easily work with it, and then you know, I can build the exterior around it much more easily. So to give you one more sense of that, I'm going to just kick it way over here. Let's see about this. And then if you were to, whoop, sloppy camera work, sloppy. So one of the things I did as a last-minute modification is you can see here at the bottom the square that marked the original corner, and I thought that that trimmed out, blocked out I should say, too much of a view into this interior. And so what I did is I came in and cut this at a 45-degree angle so we'd have a little more to look at when you came in at this angle on the entrance. So trying to maximize the visual appeal of this, make it seem spacious, make it seem like it leads somewhere else, and so far I like the way it's coming out. Now that I've done all of these crazy cuts, progressing on this interior should move a little bit more smoothly, although there is quite a bit of surface area in the interior to dress, if you will, or carve, or in otherwise embellish. So it's not like it's done, but at least the superstructure is complete overall. wall, and that's a big goal for me, so I can envision how it's going to look in the interior as I move forward with it. So that gives you an idea of where the project is at. My next goal for the next few days is to finish the interior of that piece, fully assemble it, drop it down, do another light check on it. I want to see if I've got enough lighting in there, readjust the colors to make sure they're reflecting at the proper color in the interior, and then I can make a makeshift wiring to give me room to move that around as time goes on, and put those lights in place. I've actually changed how I'm doing the lighting yet again, but I'm not going to tell anybody how I'm doing it until the project is done, so I don't get more suggestions on how to fiddle with it. I have spent a crazy, and I mean ludicrous, perhaps irresponsible amount of time trying to figure out how to light this piece and doing some research on LED lighting. I'm done doing that. I've got a system that's going to work. I understand it, mostly. No more changes. No more changes. So you don't get to know what I'm doing, so you don't make any suggestions, because I have no willpower to avoid investigating things that people suggest. So I just want to thank everybody for their suggestions in the past, but shh, we'll keep it a secret for now. But stay tuned, as I plan on putting in a considerable amount of effort on this piece over the next week or two, and I wish I had a dedicated piece for myself to focus on, but I have a very hard time saying no to people, particularly other customers who have been long-time customers, so I will be dabbling in a few other projects over that period of time, but that is my main focus. And as I mentioned in my previous video, my wife has been concerned about the amount of space I've been occupying with my work, and while she's incredibly forgiving, that piece needs to get finished up. It's big, it's in the way, and I'm eager to see it come to fruition as well. So expect some more updates in the near future. Hopefully you'll stay tuned to the channel for those. And of course, questions and comments always welcome down below. I always say that, and I do mean it, and I read every single one, even if I don't respond to them. I am keeping an eye on it, and I really appreciate it. So thank you for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.